My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state.
8:32 a.m. It's February 2nd, 2026. And what I've been capturing images of is the maintenance of the fake sun right here, where the entity is maintaining criminal surveillance. Criminal surveillance by an entity, that's by government, that's by a group, that's gang stalking, group stalking, engaging in what is demonic behavior. And they do so while you're identifying commercial actors such as Southwest Airlines, such as an airport, the Ontario International Airport, such as the government, such as the fire department, ambulances who are so-called EMTs while they're abusing their position in the same exact identical environment that doesn't change and it doesn't become irrelevant when they are engaged in the same criminal system, using those means of cloaking themselves, that is concealing the corruption that they are engaging in and facilitating amongst a population. That's what's relevant regarding this fake sun that's over me at this bus stop, where my documentation shows it's over me at this bus stop at 12:30 in the afternoon, where I am showing you also the maintenance of what is the fake sun that's remaining bigger picture on this same block. This is F Street. Let me show you this. This is F Street and the OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity then goes to, on the opposite side of this parking lot, the gas station, the apartment complex, downtown Ontario, which is along C Street. That's where the fake sun that is in alignment to me here remains in alignment to me there, and it does not exceed beyond this street. The fake sun rising in alignment to me, the fake sun setting in alignment to me at OVITT Family Community Library. This is where a population is stalking. And this stalking conduct is pursuant to what is an agency. The agency, which is existing between the government itself, the public entity, and the people of the state who are in the shoes of the government. They are not private citizens while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct, which is established in the specific environment, which is supernatural. And speaking to a fake sun rising and setting, speaking to their presence in that environment and their supernatural conduct, their behavioral patterns, such as creating methods of light activity. This is not a malfunction, it's a method of light activity, and it's a demon while you're looking at that tail light flashing. And you've seen them engaging in what is showing you that they are fully, knowingly, and intentionally sharing in the pattern of conduct with the engineer light that moves across the wall, because that's never produced with regard to just driving on the street if the people of your state weren't demons who were gang stalking you as well, who were not angry and hostile, violent sex offenders engaging in what is means of psychologically torturing you. That agency is speaking to what is intentional presence. Okay, so with regard to the documentation, because I've already shown you a pattern of conduct, the entity engaging in what are acts of violence to me at the Ontario Museum of History and Arts for a term of years, especially when I get particularly damning evidence, as this entity estimates it, because it's all damning, all of it is damning. And the entity is engaging in what are acts of violence, including not only molestation, sexual assault, and battery with light, while they're monitoring in furtherance of murder, while they are stalking in order to do so. Okay, the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct. This entity that I'm documenting committed assault and battery last night, touching on my buttocks while I'm at this bus stop, and this is following the Ontario police being identified in video documentation, Mike LORENZ being identified in video documentation. Mike LORENZ is acting through all of this population right now. You need to understand that. That department is engaging in what is sexual assault and battery through a population right now. And that's why Mike LORENZ is subject to federal prison, okay? License 27579J2 commits assault and battery, sexual assault and battery, touching on my buttocks while in the middle of the night, while you are stalking, because that's exactly what this population is doing. And this population committed an unlawful touching. They are always doing so, and they're doing so right now while the system of monitoring is underway, because this is not the sun, and this is not sunlight. Neither is sunlight shooting off of your car. They're all means of touching while they are monitoring my purpose, serving a criminal purpose, in other words, while they are engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring. The entity is, in other words, engaging in what is psychological torture while sexually violating you, and that unlawful touching, pursuant to engineered light, is going to be equally treated under what is federal law. It's going to be addressed as such, and that's exactly what it is, while the entity is psychologically harming your mind while you're being touched and harassed and terrorized in such manners that are supernatural, speaking to the fact that they're, again, engaged in an agency with the government. That agency committed sexual assault and battery, and I want to document that. Mike LORENZ committing sexual assault and battery, touching my buttocks, doing so vicariously through the people of the state. The ongoing documented pattern of sexual violence, of ongoing harm, physical battery, while the theft of my property, all means of what are obstructing justice, harassing and terrorizing and sexually violating me through the people of the state, as I document the violent sex offenders, the stalkers, the proven vagina monitors that they are. This is relevant to the documentation that I captured last night at the DD's discounts in the parking lot of the Ontario Village Shopping Center, where the people of the state are sex offenders stopping in the path with light. This is exactly the daytime version of that. Stopping in front of you with your headlights because they want to touch you while they're monitoring. This is accomplished while a fake sun remains over you and they are maintaining presence. That's the same conduct during the day. Okay, as I document the violent sex offenders that they are, the demons that they are, 9TVJ867 commits sexual assault and battery, touching on my buttocks in the middle of the night, consistently committing a battery, hitting on the bench that I'm on, committing what is a means of hitting my person. In other words, it's attached to my person, it's a battery. It's no different with regard to the entity that's committing tortious acts, but this is beyond what is tortious. This is no tortfeasor. This is a co-conspirator of murder, engaging in acts of violence based on what is the intent to retaliate regarding evidence that the entity is unlawfully keeping under surveillance, and it is an agency engaging in that on behalf of the terrorist agency, the Ontario Police Department. The kidnappers and the murderers who are obsessed with monitoring my vagina, molesting my person, molesting my breasts, my buttocks, my thighs, all of my person while they are stalking directly and vicariously. They're doing so with the entity that is establishing that they are in fact engaged in an agency, stalking and sharing in that sexual violence while I'm at this venue where the fake sun is rising, speaking to the agency that's engaged in sexual assault and battery while I'm at the bus stop where they are targeting. I just want to document this sexual violence by the City of Ontario, a sex offender. The City of Ontario that's engaged in domestic terrorism, and every household that feels the City of Ontario sharing in that. Sex offenders who are immigrants subject to deportation, sex offenders who are custodial, guardians, parents, subject to what is loss of custody of their children. While they commit, you need to understand the government commits sexual violence against you. It's not a random act of violence. It's nothing that they have to investigate. These are the demon-possessed that engage in such acts of violence with regard to ceasing to silence you, to harass you, to retaliate against you, to teach you a lesson. Those are the psychopaths that are stalking under the fake sun. And they are committing that. I will, again, publish the license plates of the people of the state. Every airline at the Ontario International Airport is sharing in sexual assault and battery. And they are doing so while they are witnessing the evidence. That's what's relevant regarding Southwest Airlines clearly targeting. The federal case is not missing the fact that the airport is not only targeting, it's relevant the fact that I'm capturing evidence and they are going out in the video documentation, going out of their way to include themselves in evidence speaking to sexual violence that this entity committed. That's the entity that's monitoring pursuant to what is relevant to psychological torture, acting with impunity, repeating the act. Okay, reiterating the intentional harm behind being sexually assaulted and battered and gang stalking by plane in the midst of that video evidence. Understand that's relevant to damages. It's relevant to the criminal charges. Gang stalking pilots are going to federal prison. That's where they belong. Okay, this is an entity that shares in sexual violence, committed sexual assault and battery as an agency. Okay, these are all third parties. That's the Bucket Crab and Crawfish, El Pescador. You have Truth and Love Ministries, a gang stalking church. Starbucks, ARCO, CHEVRON, BETHEL Congregation, where the fake sun is over me now, okay? This is the entity, and just give you an example. It's every business, everyone, every household, every third party. I'm documenting those that are just crossing path. It's the entire state of California because this is not the sun, all right? Second of all, the entities engaging in what is an agency through businesses like Omnitrends who are gang stalking. All right? The entity is maintaining this engineered environment when you are not forgetful of the fact that I am at this same location after 12 o'clock in the afternoon where they are honking like they don't know whether I'm getting on the bus or not. It's activity creation in the engineer light. Where you are molesting me with engineer light, you know exactly who I am. When you are touching my buttocks in the middle of the night, under the fake moon that remains over me everywhere I travel at nightfall, and the fake sun is rising and setting over me all during the day, you know exactly who it is I am. You know exactly who I am as you are engaging in the pattern of conduct. This ongoing psychotic means of failing to act like you're not gang stalking, especially at this juncture with this level of evidence. This is the exact same evidence that is not accomplishing the corrupt government's purposes. You do not appear as though you're not targeting. You appear as though you are delusional and psychopathic. Failing in the secret conspiracy to murder, fully exposed in that conspiracy, and continuing with regard to an ongoing obsession with, in fact, vagina monitoring. This is where the entity is maintaining the fake sun. And this is where the entity is maintaining that fake sun. As I'm capturing that, I'm going to show you where that pattern is showing that clear agency. Ontario Police crossing path right now at 8:41 a.m. under the fake sun that's remaining over me at this same exact location, Bethel Congregation, okay? Bethel Congregation is where the entity is maintaining this fake sun. Let me go ahead and show you this. This is the fake sun that's over me now. This is Ontario Police. They're crossing the path on this street right here as soon as I change functions so you don't see that vehicle. But you've seen them gang stalking very foolishly on an ongoing basis when I'm capturing the same images they're going to regret. I mean, literally. Their mother, father, their spouses, their children are going to be shedding tears because the demons of the Ontario Police Department are fools and they're going to be broke, and their families deserve to not have any money to survive when their significant others are going to prison, when they're going to be prosecuted as terrorists, when they are done with law enforcement, and they don't get a dime, because that's exactly what's happening. Those are terrorists, and they're facilitating terrorism, while a sex offender, on behalf of the sex offenders of the Ontario Police, rub on my buttocks in the middle of the night. And who are you going to call when you're sexually assaulted, and when you're subject to sexual assault and battery, when it is the police themselves? Those are the ones that are committing kidnapping, like Craig Hazelwood under the fake sun. He's aiming a spotlight on me. That's what the fake sun purpose is during the day. He's a demon. You do not call the sex offenders pursuant to what is criminal summoning, threatening your life. The entity is going to federal prison for sexual assault and battery. That's why the Ontario Police are going to federal prison. While the airport is stalking, that's why the Ontario Police Department are subject to disbanding in federal prison. While the population is stalking under what is a fake sun, that's over me right here at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's look at it again. Because this is where the entity is committing what is sexual assault and battery in the middle of the night, pursuant to what is an intent to harass me, to threaten me, to violate me, because of my evidence that they are sex offenders, that their vagina monitors is no longer some sort of theory that everyone's questioning, and you're questioning because you are engaging in this pattern of conduct, you are facilitating it, you are sharing in it, you are justifying it. Okay, but aside from that, I'm prosecuting right now. The entities engaged in this pattern of conduct, and it is a fact that the Ontario Police Department are vagina monitors. And while I document that, the entities engaged in what I already have a body of evidence of, committing ongoing violence, sexual violence, physical violence, ongoing threats to commit violence, as I'm showing you everywhere that I'm sleeping, such as the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. This is evidence that I'm showing you in 2022. The Ontario Police is being disbanded for the ongoing violence that I'm subject to while they've been maintaining this pattern of conduct. And last night, this entity, the state of California, the U.S. government, commits sexual assault and battery while I am, it's a sexual battery, okay, because I don't see it coming. So under the law, this is the entity that's, again, engaging in what is an ongoing means of harassing and battering while you're hitting the bench. It's activity creation. Okay, so they're monitoring while they're harassing, doing so in the specific environment where they're molesting with their head. It's not their headlights, it's engineered light. In the same way, this isn't sunlight, it's engineered light. So the sex offenders engaging in that last night and then engaging in what is touching my buttocks. Mike LORENZ is going to prison because of his obsession with my body, with my anatomy. That the millions of dollars that he uses on technology to keep my vagina under surveillance. The people in the state whom he is acting with, conspiring and targeting me and stalking me in bathrooms all throughout Ontario, which is the state of California's pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of the fake sun, the agency that is established by virtue of the fake sun here, and it's still here at 12:36 p.m. when I'm at this building right here, hovering over the roof. It's lower than it is right now, and it's still staying not only here, but it's over me right here. Speaking to the entity touching on my buttocks last night, and the entity acts on behalf of those that are being disbanded, and they're not getting a dime when they're fired and they're removed from law enforcement as terrorists, the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. 5XST129, license plate 9MYJ906, and every license plate that I'm going to publish today are sharing in that. They are sex offenders. They're being federally charged for assault with the intent to obstruct justice, harassment, because I'm documenting, because I'm reporting, because I'm prosecuting. They're unlawfully interfering with a federal case, an ongoing federal investigation, and it's state action, and they're going to be prosecuted as such. Terrorists that commit acts of violence, further terrorism, because of the ongoing federal case, their delusion is speaking to more time in prison. More people, all of them are being deported. The city of Ontario is being gutted out, and I mean that. They are being gutted out. This is P.O.C. It is currently 8:46 a.m. under the fake sun at 537 North Euclid Avenue. That's impossible light activity. And watch it happen again. That's impossible light activity. Okay, this is surveillance of vagina. Rob Strauss. That's audible activity in this light regarding surrounding anywhere that I go, just like outside, at the traffic lights, on the sidewalk, in the sky space. And we've got vagina monitors in position. Okay? This is an exceedingly violent sex offense, and this is a very threatening and terrorizing environment. And the fake sun is over the venue.
All right, so you enter in aware of the fact, psychological torture, that your vagina is under surveillance, while the entity also reminds you, maintaining engineer light, and the entity is taking shifts, maintaining surveillance right outside, in and out of the restrooms, in and out of any office like this vagina monitor Rob Strauss is committing in the engineered environment under the fake sun. Everybody knows what he's aware of while he's doing what he's doing in the malicious manner in which he's doing what is not supposed to be identified on its surface, but on its surface and its substance. Everyone knows that Rob Strauss is a vagina monitor, and so is this other sex offender sitting outside in order to surround me. That's threatening while you're stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police Department at that. This is the same entity that committed a sexual battery last night, and they're still stalking in what is this inexplicable, irreducible, insurmountable evidence of surveillance in a bathroom. Where everything concerning your vagina and everything concerning what is surveillance in a restroom in that engineer light, where your nude body is being molested, where your privacy is thereby being invaded, and everything occurring in here is pursuant to what is ongoing knowledge by the entity that's also entering into the bathroom, as I've also documented. The demons that are stalking with light do so while they walk in and out of the engineer light, turn on the hand dryer, flush the toilet, stalk right beside you while they are obsessing over my vagina. The homosexual predators that seek out my bodily fluids and engage in that pattern of conduct, and the entities maintaining amplified noise while Rob Strauss is engaged in vagina monitoring. And that is the reason why Mike LORENZ is going to prison. Rob Strauss represents the entity. Okay, this is the P.O.C. The entities engage in what is the maintenance of noise, including my voice, my presence, serving to monitor myself under the fake sun, which you know is here as I arrived yesterday at 1 p.m. and the fake sun's over me as I'm here at 10 o'clock in the morning. Nothing other than vagina monitoring is going on right now. And while you are subject to what is that threatening conduct surrounding you, entering into the private space, the entity is going to be prosecuted as a perpetual sex offender. This is P.O.C. We have an additional vagina monitor. This is crossing path. These are sex offenders, and this is supposed to be the explanation for why you hear the elevator, and it is not. It's P.O.C. All right, you're talking about what is a psychopathic disorder with regard to what is informing sexual violence by such psychopaths who are conspiring your murder and surveilling you to the extent to where they are keeping your genitalia under surveillance, every move and everything. And as you're listening to the ongoing audible activity and stalking conduct, that's a stalker while she's walking into the office surrounding. This is what they're doing at the traffic stop, what I'm showing you at Wells Fargo last night, surrounding the traffic lights with the state controls, my shadows all over the sidewalk. The entity has the maintenance of the fake moon, which I'm capturing while the Ontario police are stalking while I'm walking towards Stater Brothers. This is what's happening on the inside. The engineer light is covering. Artificial light is not the explanation for what are multiple shadows. It's P.O.C. Okay, this is sexual violence, which Mickey, who's at the circulation desk, like Alexander Gregg is at the circulation desk, but you have a duration of time, which is speaking to what is insurmountable evidence to put both of them in federal prison, including prison while they are monitoring vagina and they are aware of the evidence of documenting conspiracy to murder, because that's why you're gang stalking in a bathroom with a population, and they're still doing it. Federal prison. Moreover, Mickey and Alexander Gregg have engaged in what is kidnapping as an entity with the sex offenders, the Ontario Police Department, who are maintaining surveillance of my genitalia. Okay, this is an unprecedented basis for what is immediate removal from positions and what is not law enforcement, what was never any execution of duties as officers. They are not receiving any pay, no compensation. They're not receiving any benefits. They are being summarily removed, and they're being prosecuted as terrorists. They're being disbanded as a department, and they are done with law enforcement. All right, this is criminal conduct that the Ontario Police Department are responsible for, as they share in that pattern of conduct, facilitating it, even engaging in ongoing terrorism as I documented. In the same way that law enforcement is responsible for enforcing the law, protecting and serving, they are responsible while they're engaging in criminal activity, which is federal group stalking and monitoring, and they will be prosecuted for the antithetical criminal conduct that they are engaging in, including right now. This is P.O.C. Alrighty? This is bathroom monitoring. This is vagina monitoring. P.O.C. This is criminal summoning. There's no coincidence under the fake sun when you're documenting exceedingly violent bathroom monitoring, vagina monitors, and the Ontario police. the untactical. They don't have any tactics. They don't have any methods. This is the entity that's engaging in psychological torture and harassment. This is why Mickey's going to prison. This is so unfortunate. Her mental illness is actually working against her. If you recall, her gang stalking me at 8:38 in the morning with Jay Sandoval and these same gang members that are inside of the library because they know I'm documenting and it is very damning evidence. And so a puppet of Satan that is more obsessed with me and a delusion of engaging what is actually accomplishing their criminal purposes is engaging in what is the P.O.C, which you know is crossing path in the engineer light, doing so while they are anticipating where I'm going, tracking my steps. You're stalking in the path as the police department while I'm prosecuting the sex offenders, the vagina monitors, 9SYU 600. This is where a casada is at 12 o'clock in the afternoon while they're engaging in what is gang stalking, vagina monitoring, in fact. And this is the entity that's engaging in that while I am documenting. He's going to prison while he's gang stalking with the fake Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, they're not fake Jehovah's Witnesses. They are demons who are engaged in the pattern of conduct. Their actual objective is to engage in the P.O.C. You are gang stalking me, a gun on your waist, a badge on your chest, under the fake sun. I'm documenting the perpetual sex offense, and they're doing so with Mickey, who's going to prison. 1582404. Impossible light while he closes the door. The fake sun is over me in this manner at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Same gang conduct that I've been documenting for years. 8857064 is stalking with them together. This is the entity that's engaged in what is relevant to psychological torture. The entity has the fake son, his partner, under the fake son on this same street at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He is stalking, targeting with regard to my evidence that he's keeping under surveillance. That's a white male. He's going to prison. 15824041019. And Mickey is going to prison. Jennifer's at the circulation desk. All right, they're engaged in the P.O.C. while they're monitoring on my devices. The black male engaged in surveillance on behalf of these vagina monitors. They're stalking on behalf of that agency. Coming in and confirming it. There are no coincidences here, okay? Like I'm stating, Jehovah's Witnesses, these are demons. That's why they're engaging in the demonic and criminal pattern of conduct. All right, they're engaging in that P.O.C. while they're crossing path, and their doctrine regarding what is a false belief system is relevant to their criminal activity. You know them by their deeds. That's why they're outside gang stalking under their fake sun. Talking about God, the true and living God, Christ Jesus, whom they do not know. The entities engaging in this P.O.C., and I want to be clear, Ontario police are engaging in what is the pattern, a psychological torture tactic, while they're engaging in that pattern of conduct, keeping the evidence under surveillance. That fool's going to prison. It's P.O.C. Mickey's inside. Myra's inside. You have the demons that are gang stalking. Remember, I took a picture of the fake sons at the opposite end facing College of Laverne University of Law as I'm at the back end, and the fake son removes over. Remember, it's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon as well, where the entity is stalking. This is P.O.C. This is what Mickey does when she's engaged in monitoring. She likes to hide behind the entity that's incriminating her. Hi. That's P.O.C. The police doing a pickup? Oh, okay. That's the pattern of conduct. She's going to prison. And this is facilitation because they're all monitoring vagina together. A whole bunch of demons, minions studying their devices in engineer light. Remember the video, the engineer light on the ceiling? It's the same P.O.C. The entity targeting with impossible light flashing on the inside while they're choosing from ear to ear, gang stalking with the library, with the police. There's a long laundry list of people going to prison for gang stalking. This is surveillance on the inside of a building. This is a psychopath. He's going from the administration office back to the back and forth from the circulation. They're pacing. The one with the curly top, he's a vagina monitor. He's a P.O.C. as are all of them.